Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I'm going to give an overview for Europeans and Swiss people about the ETFs that distribute dividends around the globe. So global dividends ETFs. When you look at the ETF scene, you have a lot of United States ETFs, but those unfortunately aren't available for European Union citizens. So they are not allowed to buy those. So in Europe there are a lot of other ETFs available for them, but a lot of videos on YouTube don't discuss those. So they talk about the US ETFs, and those videos don't help European investors. And in fact, also not the Swiss residents, although they can buy the US ETFs, they still have tax implications. So when you receive a dividend from the United States, 30% is always withheld, and 15% of that is certainly for the US government. The other 50%, as a Swiss citizen, you can ask back when you declare it on a special form to the Steuerverwaltung. And then still, even if you get a 15% back, you still have to pay income taxes on the rest of the dividend that you received from the US ETF. And that can go up to 35%. And 35% is also the dividend percentage that is taken off of the dividends in Switzerland. But it's just the same thing. So always you declare it and then you receive it back and you only pay the tax percentages that counts towards your whole income. And that's 25 up to 35% more or less. So it can depend. And in the EU, of course, other countries they can deduct taxes as well. For instance, Netherlands, they issue a 15% tax, and in Switzerland it is always withheld as well. But you can ask for that back incomplete, and so you will only pay the income tax here in Switzerland. So which ETFs are there? In total, we have 9 global ETFs that distribute dividends. And I'm not going to talk about the swap-based, so I'm only going to talk about the full replicated ETFs and also the sampled ETFs, because the swap-based I'm not a fan of, and as you know, this is not financial advice, but I'm not going to talk about something that I won't even consider investing in either. So yeah, I only included the full replicated ones and the sampling ones. 8 of those are buyable in Switzerland and 1 is not. So which ones are there? You have the SDGPX, very well known on this channel because I invest in it as my core ETF for my core satellite strategy that we apply, my wife and I. So then we have GLDV, GLDVD, VHYL, TDIV, FLXX, GGRV, SDIV, and QDVW. And the QDVW, that is the ETF that you can't buy in Switzerland. So, and you can't buy it in every European country as well. when you look it up at just ETF, you will see immediately, you will get a warning whether or not you are able to buy it in your country, yes or no. So let's start with SDGPX. So sometimes it will be called ISPA, but I always mention the ISIN code as well on the slide. And the total expense ratio of this one is 0.46%. It's one from BlackRock, so iShares Stocks Global Select Dividend 100 UCITS ETF, and it's from Germany. So the currency on the Swiss stock exchange is euro. Momentarily, it's around 25.77 cents that it costs. And the currency of the dividend is in euro, so that's important to know all the time, euro to euro. And then when you look at the holdings, so there are 100 holdings. In total, there is 1,924,000,000 invested in this fund, so that's quite high. The replication type, it's full replicated, so they invest in the stocks of the index that they follow 100% correctly. And the performance over the last year is minus 2.15%. The last 3 years it's 20.65% up. On 5 years it's only 6%. The total since its inception, or I have to say since its notes on the Swiss stock exchange, because it's been around for longer in some other on some other stock exchanges in Europe. But since its inception start on the six stock exchange, it's up almost 90%. And then it's dividends, so it gives 4 dividends a year, and that's in January, April, July, and October. And it has a dividend yield of currently 6.44%. And you can see that the last 4 dividends that it gave, it's more or less well distributed. The ones from April and July, it can be better distributed, of course. But yeah, this is a really nice dividend yield. It's actually one of the best that you can get. There is one better with a higher dividend yield, but when I come to that ETF, I will give my opinion on that one for sure. So SDGPX, for me, as we invest in it, I like this ETF a lot, and I'm definitely going to keep investing in this one. The next one, it's GLDV. It's from the Spider S&P Global Dividend Aristocrats UCITS ETF. So it's a total expense ratio of 0.45%. It's in Swiss francs, so 25.71 Swiss francs right now. And the currency of its dividend is US dollar. It invests in 92 stocks, so 92 companies. There is 855 million invested in it. It's also fully replicated. And in the past year, its performance isn't that great. It's minus 9.65%. 3 years and 5 years, it's also less than SDGPX. And the total since 2014, it's 32.88%. Also 4 dividends in a year, but it's in February, May, August, and November. And the dividend yield is currently 3.56%. And again, these are the last 4 dividends that it distributed. And I must say, this is a really nice distribution over the year. So I like this stock also. We have not that much of it yet, but I'm going to build this one up in our portfolio as well. Then the next one, it's the GLDVD, or UBUM, we should say. And then this one is from UBS. It's S&P Dividend Aristocrats ESG, UCITS ETF, US dollar, and distributed. So the total expense ratio is 0.30%. And for UBS, that's really nice that it's that low. It's also lower than a lot of other ETFs that I'm mentioning in this video right now. And that's not often the case for UBS. So for people that have an account at UBS and want to invest in an ETF, that's a really nice thing here with this ETF. The currency is US dollar, and it has a lower price. It's 8.945. So the other ones that I mentioned before are 25 and up. But with US dollar, sometimes you have ETFs that note below 10 US dollar. And I like that in the regard that when you receive other US dividends, US dollar dividends, you can reinvest those in such stocks that have a low amount in Switzerland. Because in Switzerland, you always have to buy complete ETF stocks. You can't, you can't buy partial stocks. So when you don't have a lot of money and you are on a good broker and don't have to pay a lot of costs, then it's interesting to invest in such ETFs. Also, the dividend is paid out in US dollar. There are 94 companies in this ETF, and only 187 million invested in it. Also fully replicated. The performance in over the past years is the first year minus 2.95%, but you will see this a lot, of course, because the last year it wasn't that great. 3 years is 24, almost 25% up. 5 years only 2.6%, and the total since its inception on the 6th is 14.06%. It pays 2 yearly dividends. That's often for UBS ETFs, that they only pay 2 times a dividend every year. And most of the times it's in the months February and August. The dividend yield isn't that low. It's 3.95% right now. And these are the 2 distributions that it gave. And of course, it doesn't look much, but when you look at the price of the ETF, you get this high dividend yield, of course. Then you have VHYL, or those 2 other short quotes. I'm not going to say them because I will twist my tongue. It's the Vanguard FTSE All World High Dividend Yield UCITS ETF distributing. And it has a total expense ratio of 0.29%. I think they just wanted to go below the UBS one, because it's why not give it 0.25%? But okay, it's one of the lowest ones that we will see in this video. So it has one of the highest prices as well. So it's 52.53 Swiss francs right now. And it pays out a dividend in US dollar as well. It has the most holdings of all the ETFs that I mentioned in this video, so 1763. So it's really well diversified. Maybe it's too diversified. That's up to you, of course, to decide. It has also the most amount invested in it, so 3 billion and 290 million in total. and it's a sampling one, so the replication type. So it's not up to 100%. So they take a little bit of liberty to follow the index that they follow, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing, because it can lower your dividend return when they screw it up, of course. The performance, it's a really nice performance compared to all the other ETFs that we have seen so far and that we will see in this video. So again, the last year minus 1.75 more or less. The past 3 years almost 30% up, and the past 5 years 17% up. And the total since its inception is 53%. And again, 4 dividends per year, and this one is March, June, September, and December that they pay out a dividend. And in total, they give a dividend yield right now of 3.63%. And again, really nice dividends that they pay out, nicely distributed. The one in June sticks a bit out, but it's a little bit better than the SDGPX one. And my wife and I, we also invest in VHYL. We like this one a lot as well, and we are building this one up to have yeah, to have nice dividends in all the months. Then we come to DEDIF. It's Van Eck Morningstar Developed Markets Dividend Leaders. It has a total expense ratio of 38%. This one is from the Netherlands, so always 50% deducted when you receive your dividend here in Switzerland. But as I said, you can ask for it back, so that's important that you know that. The currency, it's noted in Swiss francs. That's also really nice to have, of course. And the dividend is paid out in euro, so just like the dividend of SDGPX, that's also in euro. But this one you can buy immediately. You don't have exchange costs to buy euros before you can buy the ETF like SDGPX. It invests in 100 holdings. I need to check that. Where is it? Because I think that's maybe a mistake. Yeah, it's 99. So it's not completely correct. My slide, it's 99. It's also, it has also a lot of money invested in it. So 1.9 billion is invested in it, and it's fully replicated. It has a really nice performance, so it's not negative in the first year. It's one of the 2 or 3 ETFs that don't have a negative return in the past year. The past 3 years, it's up 55%, so really nice, and over 5 years, 33%. And the total since 2019, it's 64% up. So that's because, of course, the yeah, the rally of 2019 up to 2020 when Corona hit, it was a rather nice rally. Actually, it started in 2018, the end of 2018, and it took most of that with it. And then it also has 4 dividends in a year, the same months as VHYL. It has a high dividend yield of 5.07%, so that's the third highest one of the ETFs that I mentioned in this video. And yeah, again, just like with the SDGPX, the the distribution isn't that nice. So the one from June is a lot higher than the one from March, and also the one from December. So that's something to take into account when you want to invest in this one, I think. So it's better to invest shortly before June, and when you miss June, then you should better wait until you are back around March, so that you immediately start off good with a good high dividend on in that quarter. We invested in TEDIF when we lived in Belgium a few years back. So when we came to Switzerland, then we sold this one off completely because we needed the money to move to Switzerland. So I'm still a bit, yeah, I'm still not so happy about the fact that we needed to sell it, but probably I will build this. I will start buying this one as well once we can save more every month, and I can start to invest more every month as well. So this one is certainly on my list to start buying. So then FLXX, or FRGD, it's the Franklin Global Quality Dividend Usage ETF. It has a total expense ratio of 0.30%. The currency is US dollar, 27.99 right now, and the dividend is also paid out in US dollar. It has 98 holdings and only 36 million invested in it. A lot of people on YouTube, when they talk about ETFs, they say they don't go below 100 million, they don't go below 200 million, don't go below half a billion. I think that these ETFs, because I think this one is really good, they should be mentioned. There is only 36 million invested in it, but it's a really good fund. So it has only minus 3.65% loss in the past year, and then 3 years and 5 years it's more or less the same, 22%. And since its inception, it's up almost 29%. It pays also 4 dividends in a year, also on March, June, September, and December, and has a dividend yield of almost 3%. And again, nicely distributed. In June, a bit higher, of course, than the other 3 dividends that they pay out. But I think this one, yeah, it certainly has a home in some portfolios. So we are not buying this one, but I'm certainly going to keep following this one. And when it keeps performing like it is, then I think it will be on the short list for sure. But on the other hand, we already invest in 3 of these ETFs, and with TEDIF on the list as well, it's hard to take another one. But when you just start, this one is a really nice one. Then you have GGRE. I need to say, so GGRW, or those 2 other short descriptions. It's the Wisdom Tree Global Quality Dividend Growth Usage ETF and US dollar. Total expense ratio of 0.38%. It notes in US dollar, and it pays out in US dollar as well. It has 580 companies that it invests in, so that's the second largest amount. So the other one was the which one was it? It was the VHYL that had 1,700 companies under its belt, and there is 102 million invested in it. And it's also a sampling one, so one of the two sampling ETFs that I mentioned in this video. And this one has a outstanding performance, as you can see. The last year 4.3% up, the last 3 years 20.89% up, the last 5 years 43% up, and since 2019 204.62% up. I think that needs to be a mistake. I don't know whether or not I can. So it's GGRV, GGRV, Wisdom Tree. Is that a typing mistake of me, yes or no? No, see, you see 230.85 right now because the price changed a bit. So it's unbelievably nice. Maybe there is a mistake in the yeah, in the calculation on just ETF. I don't know, but it's one of the best performers then. It gives 2 dividends per year, and in months it's on January and July that it gives a dividend, and the dividend yield, it's one of the lowest for today, but yeah, when you grow like this, because it's quality dividend growth, it will be not that high, but the stocks that it holds are really good. So, and then you have the SDEV. So that's the Global X Super Dividend usage. I forgot the T here. ETF, US dollar distributing. It has a total expense ratio of 0.45. It notes in Swiss francs, and it's almost 8 francs. And it pays out in the US dollar. It has 101 holdings, and there is only 32 million invested in it, and it's fully replicating. The total since its inception, it's minus 32%, and this one, yeah, 1 year it's minus 7% almost. And with this, I'm really not happy about this one from Global X, the Super Dividend UCITS ETF. It pays out 12 dividends per year, so every month. That's really nice when you want income every month. And the dividend yield is exceptionally high. So it's indeed super dividend. But yeah, so it's always 0.1, 0.1, and the other information on the SIX website, you can't find the information on just ETF. You can see that it's 0.09, 0.09 in the other ones. I didn't put all 12 of them here, of course. But when you look at the distribution compared to the price, you see from where the high dividend comes. But when you look up the SDIF, so let's go to just ETF again, and you look up SDIV, and you look at the graph. So the graph max, you see it starts here and it's minus 30%. It keeps on dropping, and it's really not that great. So here you can see it's that's in Great British Pound, so I need to put it in US dollar. You see, so they round it up, but it's dropping a bit. So 0.1095 this should be, and then now it's 0.09. So it pays out a really high dividend, and I don't like these kinds of ETFs because it looks like a dividend trap. You get a high return, but your money is just going away because the price keeps dropping of the ETF. So I'm not too keen on this one. Then the last one, it's the QDVW, and that's the iShares MSCI World Quality Dividend ESG UCITS ETF in US dollar and distributing. So also total expense ratio of 0.38. It notes in euro and only a price of 5.86. So that's also really important, just like the one that I mentioned of the US dollar that has had a low price there, and the SDIF as well. But as I said on the previous one, SDIF, I wouldn't invest my money in that one, even if you gave me every month 1,000 euros to invest in it. I must say Swiss francs because that one notes in Swiss francs. So this one also pays out in US dollar. There are 170 companies in this one and almost 550 millions invested in it with fully replicated one. And the returns are not that bad. So it is 2.71, 25%, almost 20% for 5 years, and then 30.5% since its inception in 2017. And here I must say, I forgot to point it out, but this notes on the etc. So you can't buy it on the SIX stock exchange. So don't forget about this one. When you're a Swiss citizen, this one isn't that. You can buy it, of course, when you buy it on the etc. stock exchange, or the other, the one from Stuttgart, and which is the other one. You have the GetX as well in Germany, where you can buy it. It has 2 dividends per year, and it's on in May and in November, and it has a dividend yield of 2.9%. And yeah, with this price, these dividends, they don't seem that high, but as you can see, almost 3% dividend yield. So what is the conclusion? Which one is the best global dividend paying ETF? Well, for me, it's SDGPX, but it's closely followed by TDIF, VHYL, GLDV, FLXX, GGRW. So they are really close to one another. You have to do your own research because I'm not a financial advisor. I just put together my thoughts and the information that I find for you. So I hope you like these videos and that you subscribe and like this video. But for the rest, yeah, I just give my opinion. I'm not saying that you should invest in those ETFs that I mentioned here on this video. And the thing that I can say for sure is don't invest in SDIV. I think it's a dividend trap, so stay away from SDIF as far as possible. So don't be one of those 32 million that are invested in this ETF, and stay away from it. And nice to know is that when you invest in SDGPX plus GLDV plus one of these three, that you have a dividend in every month of the year. You can have the same with SDIF, but as I said, stay away from it. And with that said, see you next time, and thank you for watching.